The only way to stop these things is with a bullet to the head.
If you're watching on Instagram, hey. If you're watching on YouTube, hey. Welcome to a new episode of the Undead Comic Haul, where comics never die. I'm JB. This is episode 1. We did episode 0. This is a proper episode, so I've actually been to the comic book shop today. I've been to Worlds Apart in Liverpool today and actually got a bag here of comics. I've started doing this, if you didn't watch the last video, because Chris has stopped doing this. He just can't do it at the moment. I'm going to try and fill Chris's shoes on it. I'm nowhere near as big a geek in the sense of comic knowledge as Chris, but hey, I'm going to give it a shot. That's one of my favourite podcasts. Comic Crypt ended, so I feel like there's one less comic related thing in the world and I need to do something to right that. So what we do is we're going to see what I bought today, so this is from Worlds Apart in Liverpool, and it was quite confusing because it was Pride today, it was Pride this weekend, I didn't know. So everywhere we went, people were having a drink, rainbows everywhere, it was great. But what was really great was loads of people just cosplayed, so I'm kind of regret that I didn't take anything to go proper filming around with, but there was like people dressed as like Deadpool, Harley Quinn, Doctor Who, just to name a few off the top of my head. So it was really great. So I'm thinking next year I might go and do a little Pride coverage. Right, so first up is the Weatherman. So the Weatherman, yeah, this is on Image Comics. This is something that me and Chris talked about on Chris's comics on his last podcast. We're laughing at the title. I just found the title hilarious, The Weatherman. Almost like we've run out of superheroes. But there's something about it caught my eye. But I don't know whether it's the fact we had talked about it. But I just thought it looked quite interesting. It's by Jody LaHupp with Nathan Fox and Dave Stewart. I can't think of anything that I've read that has those names on it. The artwork looks quite nice as well. It's my kind of style. So I'm hoping that this is a good little pickup. See what happens there. Let's see what else. Hit Girl. So you might know Hit Girl from Kick-Ass the film. But they've been doing comics of Hit Girl for years. This has got Jeff Lemire. And he did Descender, which I've got over there, and amongst much more. That's just one little thing he's done. And this is the second chapter, issue 6 of Canada. The first chapter, the first 4 issues were just pages and pages of her killing. That was all it was. There was no real story. It was just like, let's find inventive ways like for people to die and show her killing, which was all right, but it was a bit boring. But then I saw this and it just said she's in Canada now and it's a whole new story, so I thought I'd give it one more shot. And the last one was actually really good. And why am I surprised? It's Jeff Lemire. So we should see what happens there. It's different artists from the last one as well. It's Eduardo Riso. And again, I like his art in this. I didn't care much for the other guy on the last one. But let's see where this goes. What's next? Doomsday Clock. Yes. This has been fantastic so far. It's one of my favourite comics of the year. Will probably be nominated for the Nerdies. We do the Nerdies every year, an award show. We'll probably nominate it for Comic of the Year. The art's amazing. The storyline's great. It's funny, but also horrific at the same time, just like how Watchmen was. Twists and turns around every corner. Really enjoying this, and it's the only DC title you might see pop up. I do read DC, I do like DC, but unlike Chris, I don't get mine in single issues. I am currently going through trades. When I quit my job, it was around the time Rebirth was happening, so I never got to finish the new 52 runs, and then the Rebirth has happened, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. So you'll find maybe there's the odd little DC issue I buy, but I'm more or less in a Marvel head. Not a Marvel zombie by any means, but little titles like this. So Spider-Man #2, the last one was great. This has got Nick Spencer on. If you watch the last episode, you know I like Nick Spencer because of Ant-Man. I loved his run on Ant-Man, and his very first issue of this was fantastic. So I have great high hopes for this. Oh, got a little upset then because it said Stanley and Steve Ditko. R.I.P. Steve Ditko. What else did I get? The final one from the bag is... Oh, God, yeah. Saga. This is a chilling cover. I don't know what to make of it. If you haven't read Saga, what are you doing? Go read Saga. It's fantastic. But this could mean something very, very bad in these pages. And what's more annoying, Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples have announced that they're going on a hiatus for about a year, a full year, to work on the rest of this, whether they're talking about finishing it or whether it's the next chapter. It depends what interview you read. Some interviews they've done where they've said, oh, we've got tons more to tell, but other ones are implying like they need time to figure out how to end this. So I don't know what's going on. I don't even open it to look at the pages inside. I'd show you normally, but if you want to get into Saga, the books, the first book's cheap wherever you look. The first book's cheap, and then like that, it's like crack. It's just you've got to have more. You got to have more. So totally get into Saga. But that's me. That's all the comics for this week. What did you pick up? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to rate, like, subscribe. Don't forget to visit talknerdy.uk. And if you want to know what I thought about all these comics, listen to the Chris's Comics podcast. Chris hosts a great little podcast show called Chris's Comics, where he goes over all comics. We read a big comic, a big trade, a big run as well, but we discuss what we've been reading. So if you want to know what I think of them, and more importantly, what Chris thinks of them, go and listen to the podcast and review it and share it, please. All right, that's it for another episode. I'll see you next week for another Undead Comic Haul, where comics never die.